But Brandon, let's move on. And I know that if you're on Blog Talk Radio, you're sitting there going, holy crap, guys, there's still more to this. There's still more to this podcast. I feel like I just listened to an entire podcast with our first segment. But hey, what a way to end the college football season.
And you know what I feel like I need to say, even though as we head into a college basketball segment, is congratulations to Georgia for getting there to the
totally
championship.
Should have been said in the last segment.
Because we never said that, mentioned that. It was all about Alabama and things going on there. So Georgia, really, honestly, hats off to you guys. Kirby Smart has a great defense and a great team, and he's going to be a coach who's there a lot. So now we can move on. I feel better.
I mentioned Jake Fromm about once.
Yeah, that's about it.
But you are right. But now we're going to move into college basketball, and this is where we take we put that foot down, and we're pivoting a little bit more. We're kind of setting that plant into basketball season. We're kind of doing a little kind of pseudo NBA draft topic / college basketball topic, whereas Michael Porter Jr., I said it about, I think on our big board actually, I said that there were reports from December 12th saying that, in 4 weeks, Michael Porter Jr. could be coming back, which this week would have been 4 weeks, or will be or is 4 weeks, I should say, from that report that I mentioned. And I'm looking at an article right here on CBSSports.com that says Michael Porter Jr. still won't rule out playing for Missouri this season. What I'm going to ask you first, Brandon, is kind of related draft side to it, but really with Michael Porter is, should Michael Porter Jr. return this season and play for Missouri?
No. My answer to that would be no. I think that not too long ago, it didn't sound like he was necessarily in a hurry to get back on the court, and he came into this season as a 5-star freshman, as the number 2 recruit in the 2017 class, a preseason All-American, things that he has going for him before he ever gets started. I mean, that's absolutely impressive. So one of the things that we talked about when we were talking about big board and things like that, I can't remember the player that it was with, but the fact that, it was with I can't remember his name right now, but the one just coming from high school and not going to college, and he was just coming out, going to the NBA.
It was either Mitchell Robinson or Anthony Simmons.
Mitchell Robinson, I believe. So one of the points that I
Robinson's the one that's automatically he's going to the pro. Simmons is still weighing college options.
So I think it was my point with Robinson was that a thing that could be working in his favor is that there's not as much tape on him that scouts can look at and critique and critique and critique, and then possibly, let's say, talk themselves out of something instead of talking themselves into it. The same could possibly be said here for Michael Porter Jr. Now, if he doesn't play and he goes to the NBA, people can look at that and go, well, look at all the good stuff we've got on him. There's not really that tape out there, that film, to be able to say, okay, well, he did this wrong, and it looks like he's got a little something here, or he's got a twitch here, So, what I'm saying is that if there's not that opportunity for them to really pile a whole lot on. So I think by him having all those accolades, I'd almost say already, by being the number 2 recruit, 5-star freshman, preseason All-American before you step on the floor, those are things already working in your favor and reasons why I don't think that he necessarily needs to play this year to still be okay for the NBA draft.
No, I am completely agreeing with you. And my big thing...
I feel like we haven't agreed in a while.
Well, mine is very simple this is me being totally, completely honest and kind of detaching the same feelings that we've talked about with a Miles Bridges before. Is Missouri a team that's probably going to win the tournament this year? No. Are they a team that's going to win the national championship, which is the same thing? No. I answered the same question twice. So my first thought is, if you're thinking NBA draft, why risk re-injuring yourself to play for a team that's probably not going to win the national title. And I know that's me, and people are going to say, well, Ricky, you shouldn't be like that because there's always a chance. But the thing that I also look at, and this is a big thing for me, is what if he's a guy, because right now they're 11-4 non-conference, they're 1-1 in the SEC. What if Michael Porter Jr. is a guy like Miles Bridges? And this is a conversation I think is great for us, is right now the article says he won't rule out returning. So in my mind, what I think is happening is Michael Porter's thinking about, and I don't know Michael Porter Jr. However, I'm trying to get into the mind of Michael Porter right now. You've played, I think, a few minutes. I think he played 2 games this year before he got injured. When you were coming to Missouri, everything was very emotional because you wanted to play for Coach Martin. Coach Martin was a big reason why you came to Missouri. Your brother, John Tay, I believe it's John Tay or Jorte. John Tay, reclassified from 2018 to 2017 in order to play with you this year. So they're both on the Missouri team right now. I think right now Michael Porter's sitting there kind of deciding of, do I want to go and be a top 5? Well, right now, top 5, if we're looking at your big board, top 6, pick in the draft, or do I want to stay, get a full season next year, and have that? Well, it's the emotional side of it. I get to play with my brother for a full season. I get to play for Coach Martin, which was a big reason why I came to Missouri, and I get to do it here at Mizzou. That's what I think is weighing. Do I want to go to the NBA and basically get paid, or do I want to stay in college, play with my brother? Because let's be honest, no one's talking about Jonte Porter in the NBA draft, and that's a big thing. Do I want to have the chance to play with my brother for a full season before I go pro?
I think that there's a lot of things to look at here for Michael Porter Jr. And it was actually, I think, someone who made a comment on one of our big boards, and it had to have been the one. Maybe it was 1 through 5 when I think you had him in there. So I think we talked about him at that point.
Because I had him at 2.
Someone, you had him high. Is that someone had commented and said, "Oh, it's just an injury. He can bounce back from that. He should come back, or couldn't come back." And someone then commented, dude, this is a back injury. This isn't, an ankle. This isn't, this or that or the other thing. This is a back injury, something that you really have to take seriously. And that's why I think that with him not necessarily being in a hurry to get back on the floor, from a competitor standpoint, you don't want to leave the floor. And that's, I think, still where Michael Porter Jr. is at. But from a understanding that this is your health and that this is going to be hopefully your livelihood for quite some time, you need to understand that you don't want to get back on the floor too soon. So for a back injury like this, certainly something you don't want to mess with. You take as long as you need to be 100%. And is there going to come a point when he feels he's 100%, like in his mind 100% he can go out there and do it? Yes. And is that going to be possibly different than 100% healthy? Yes. So I think that he really needs to wait till he's at 100% healthy to be able to get back on the floor, and whether it's this year or whether it's next year, and whether it's in the NBA or it's back at college again, to be able to, if he feels like he needs to prove or something here in college that he wasn't able to do this year, obviously because of the injury, or if it's something where he knows, okay, I'm being told I am still going to be a pretty high pick in the NBA draft this year, then that's something that you look at, and that's where Ricky has said that it's similar to Miles Bridges from last year. But I think, again, with an injury like this, you have got to be certain that you're okay to go back out there and not re-injure it, because it's not an ankle. It's not something like that. It's not a tweak. This is a full-fledged back injury and back surgery. That's pretty major.
Well, I mean, when he was asked about it in his first media appearance since the season opener, he basically said that it's too early to tell, and the exact quote he said is, My time is coming. I just can't rush it. So he's taken the recovery process slow. And the one fact I want to get right, someone's probably already told us in the comment section, I had to look back at the articles when he did commit. It wasn't that he wanted to play for Coach Martin. It was that when I think it was Coach Romar was fired from Washington, where he was originally going to go, his father, Michael Porter Sr., was on that staff. Mm-hmm. After that staff was all let go, Coach Martin hired his father. So now that adds another part to it is, do I want to go to the NBA, get paid, or do I want to stay in college where for one more season I can actually play with my brother and me and my brother can play for my dad?
Yeah.
And have that kind of father-son kind of trio for one full year in basketball. I know what people are saying, though. Go pro, because you don't want to risk an injury. I'll be completely honest. When when Miles Bridges came back this year and they were playing Ferris State in an exhibition and Bridges went up for a block and kind of got checked at the hip by a ducking shooter and landed face first on the turf, my heart skipped a beat. Holy shit, we were right. He should have went to the pros. That is what people are going to, obviously it's don't risk an injury. You've already had an injury. Don't risk it again. Go and get paid if a team's going to draft you. Plus, there's other people on the other side of go to the pros, kind of I'll use Joel Embiid as the story where, yeah, he could have stayed in college, but the coaching and the training staff that you get is better at the pro level and can help you, maybe help you with your back injury, maybe help you overall coaching. However, I wouldn't be surprised, like I said, if this is a Miles Bridges situation and if Michael Porter doesn't play this year, let's say he doesn't play the rest of this year, if he sits there and goes, I want to play with my brother and for my dad, so I'm going to stay. But here's what I think, and this is what I'm going to kind of move into this before we move into what his return would mean for the Missouri Tigers. My prediction for everything is that I don't think, and I'm going to be wrong, I know I am, but I'm going to go ahead and say it anyways. He's not going to play the regular season. What's going to happen is the entire regular season he will not play, and then come conference tournament time, he'll judge then. If Missouri's on the bubble and needs a couple quality wins, he'll play that first tournament game. Or he might play that Vanderbilt game, Arkansas game at the end of the regular season. But I think it's either he plays towards the end of the season into the postseason or he doesn't play at all. That's what I'm thinking.
And I'm still standing by. I don't think that he's going to play at all. I don't think he's going to risk the injury, and then he can reassess and reevaluate at the end of the season on whether he's going to go to the NBA or if he stays back in college for a year.
Well, let's transfer a little bit and move over kind of at the end of this segment, kind of look at if he does return sooner rather than both you and I said. Missouri right now, like I said, was a 10-2 team. Now they're an 11-4 team. Got to throw out there bragging rights. What up? Illinois beating the Missouri Tigers. Got to throw that out there. 70-64 win whenever I can. But they're a team that went 10-3. The bragging rights game was their last non-conference game. 10-3 in non-conference. They're 1-1, beating South Carolina on the road, losing to Florida at home. They've got the rest of their SEC schedule, which consists of big games against Auburn, 2 against Kentucky. They're going to play Alabama on the road with Colin Sexton. They're going to see Tennessee, who's ranked 24 right now. I want to ask you this, Brandon. If Michael Porter Jr. returns sooner, rather than when you and I say he's going to return, you say next season, I say towards the postseason after the regular season, what would his return mean for the Missouri Tigers in this conference play?
Oh, well, I think it would certainly boost them. I think it would certainly boost them to the next level. And one of the things that he's saying is he's watching all these guys, and he's like, I'm enjoying watching these guys. I'm enjoying what they're doing out there, on the floor. But he said, I know I can be out there doing exactly that, if not doing, some things better, being able to bring even more to this team. So I think that this is something where he's going to make them better. There's no question. But it's again one of those where I have to go back to the injury and say, do you feel like you're 100%? Are you 100% healthy? If he's 100% healthy, he's going to go out there. He's going to propel them to a spot in the postseason. And if he doesn't, then we'll see if Missouri is able to do that on their own then. But I think that you're never going to say that Michael Porter Jr. didn't help to bring them a couple more wins if he's out there on the floor. You wouldn't be able to say that. Well, yeah,
he's a top two. I'll say top 10 NBA prospect because you had him at 6.
I thought you were talking I thought you were talking going
No,
another
I wasn't
way.
talking just my big board. He's top 2 on mine. But he is a top 10, top 5 prospect for a reason. And, of course, anytime he comes back. Here's the thing that I think of, though. And both you and I this past weekend actually talked to an athlete who's in college right now who had injured herself in a game. Now she's back. And the thing she even said is, oh, man, there was a layup there where that was really nice because I was able to trust that leg again. And the whole thing is when let's say he comes back in the next 2 games. He's not going to come back and, boom, be Superman right away. Like, I know he's going through the recovery and everything, but when you're out on the court after an injury, whether it's an ACL, whether it's a back, whether it's a torn labrum, you have to trust that again. And, I mean, with the torn labrum, when it's anything with the shoulder, and I know Michael Porter isn't, but, like, you can see something where what we're looking at Markelle Fultz at the next level. Injures his shoulder, then it's like, wow, he's not shooting the same anymore. But, like, ACL, back, it's kind of the same thing of once you're out there, you got to trust that in, to trust it to where, A, you're not going to have in your mind like, oh, I'm going to get injured again, but also trust it to be like, yeah, I can do this. You know what? It's sturdy out there. Like, that's why you go out there on the knee, you have the knee brace out there just for, sometimes it's physical support, other times it's mental support to help you be like, yeah, I got this. I can trust this knee again. So there's also that side of it too, that if he comes back, trusting the back and trusting the injury.
Yeah, I think that you're number one. I think you're
I am number one. Thank you, Brandon. I really appreciate
number
that.
one in
You
all
made
of
my
our
day.
hearts. I did not mean to say that. I don't know where I was going with that one.
I'm gonna throw this out there though. I was coming up with some of the teams in the top 7. The only team I left out are the top 8. Only team I left out was Texas Tech. But the thing that kind of I'm looking at right now, you've got West Virginia, who's number 2 right now. They have 4 players averaging double digits per game. You look at Virginia, they're the anomaly. They have 2. However, Virginia's always a team that is, we're going to win with our defense. West Virginia's like that too, but still, I mean, 4 players averaging double digits. Virginia's a team like that too. We're going to win with our defense. They only need 2 guys to score in double digits. Michigan State has basically the starters. They have 5 guys scoring double digits. You have Purdue, which has 4 guys scoring double digits. You have Wichita State, 4 guys scoring double digits. You have Duke, 5 guys scoring double digits. Oklahoma, they have 3 guys scoring double digits. You look at Missouri right now. They have 2 guys scoring 15 double digits. It's Jordan Barnett and Cassius Robertson. They're the only ones scoring double digits, 15.9, 15.4. That is something that I look at statistically that if Michael Porter Jr. comes back, that's going to boost them over because they go from a team that is not the same as Virginia. They're not going to focus on their defense as much as Virginia is. Get a guy who can give them at least 10 a game, and that's me being generous, just putting them in double digits. But having that third player, Michael Porter Jr., would be in double digits, and that would even help them boost them because it seems like you need at least 3 from the teams at the top of the rankings right now.
Oh, absolutely you do. I mean, you can't look at it and have 1 guy or even 2 guys that are in double digits and that are doing it all for you because eventually one of them is going to slow up. It's going to have to go to the other guy, and that's I mean when you look at it and I'm surprised that there's not, what am I trying to say here is the fact that any team would be able to be up there without having probably 4 scores in double digits, because that's what you're going to find out of a top team, which is what you were saying, top teams. So that's why it's important for Missouri as a team to be able to get Michael Porter back, because they know that they can get there with him, that they can make strides with him. But I always have to revert back to, it's about him, it's about his decision, it's where he's at, and if he is ready, he'll come back, and it will take a couple of games, as you said. And what I was trying to say is not that you're number one, but you're spot on with what you're saying. And I think that it's definitely going to be interesting to watch from here on out to see what ends up happening.
Any final thoughts before we move on to our last topic?
I just hope that he's able to make the decision that's best for him, that he feels most comfortable with. And clearly he can see that other guys do it. Miles Bridges, as we already mentioned, is a perfect example from last year.
Well, this is where you guys come in. Let us know down below. First off, should Michael Porter Jr. come back? Whether if you're looking at it from a draft side, you're looking at it from a Mizzou side, let us know what you guys think down below. And then also, if he does come back, what does that mean then for the Missouri Tigers? Does he make them a tournament team? Will they still be a team that's kind of on the bubble? Let us know what you guys think down below in the comment section.